And so I am just here packing stuff up today. It has been a long day of shipping. So if you placed an order at the end of last week or this weekend, it will be in the box today and it will be picked up tomorrow. And I appreciate you all greatly. I sold a ton of knives, like a metric butt ton, and I really hate shipping, but I don't hate shipping as much as I hate the idea of hiring somebody for anything. The idea of getting potentially other people involved in the liability and the paperwork involved and everything else, it's too much for me. So it's not even an option. So I'm not going to complain about shipping, because a lot of shipping means that something went well, right? Still have knives left to ship, still have knives left to list. Now what happened was, I didn't realize some of the variety that I had in the drop, so I didn't post everything that I had in the drop. And so, for instance, with the Adventure Crafts, I just posted the classic Adventure Craft polished A2 blade with the orangish and black Liberty wood. I didn't realize I also have those Adventure Crafts with blued blades and walnut scales. I've got some clear kydex. I've got some wild stuff. So you will see throughout the week, you will see more stuff getting posted. I will be trying to hold back some of that stuff for Blade Show. I'm hoping to have my Baker Forge billet Adventure Crafts at Blade Show with some insane custom handle scales. I'm also, oddly enough, hoping to have Adventure Craft box openers. They're not laser engraved with our logo or White River's logo. They will not come with any warranty for actual use, because what we did, as you probably know, I had a few knives, quite a few knives, gun blued by Turnbull Restorations. If you didn't know, Turnbull Restorations is the absolute premier firearm refinishing company. Like, if you have a historic gun that's worth $20,000-$30,000, you send it to Turnbull. And I had them do a bunch of bluing for me, which blew me away, by the way, that I was able to work with them, because I'd been a fan of theirs for a very long time. But not only did we do that, but I had them test out color case hardening on knives for me. Now, if you know anything about heat treat, you know what I knew, that the knives, through the authentic original color case hardening process using bone and charcoal in an oven and stuff like that, was going to ruin the heat treat. I knew it was going to ruin the heat treat, but I had to try it anyways, just in case the knives came out, just if there was even a remote possibility that they could come out just usable. And they didn't. No surprise there. I was hoping for something unrealistic. So they came out like 45 on the Rockwell or something like that. They're unusable as knives, but they'd work fine for a letter opener or something. They look so good. They look so freaking cool. We might be doing chemical. Eddie White, what's up? Poconos from Pennsylvania. You know what? I went to Pennsylvania fairly recently. I've got some family out there, and I should go out there more often. I've got some friends up there, and I'm not going to say I never thought that Pennsylvania was beautiful. What I would say is I never thought about Pennsylvania, just because I didn't. And I was around the Pittsburgh area, and the historic buildings, the tiny winding roads up and down through what we would call haulers and stuff like that. Beautiful. What's up, Missouri? Anyways, I think I got distracted, but yeah, I need to spend more time in Pennsylvania. And I've got a buddy who, Justin Vidito, who does survival and firearms training up there. I could do some classes with him. Maybe I could do some work with him and stuff like that. Get some videos and stuff. Just hang out. The one thing that blew me away about Pennsylvania was the ticks. Mar Busy talked about doing gun barrel bluing on a knife, and it turned out pretty well one time. Now, these blued knives, they are not what we would call food safe. Okay, so it should not be your daily kitchen knife, potentially. Does that mean that if you're bushcrafting or whatever and you cut open your package or process your meat or do anything that the gun bluing is going to harm you? I don't believe so at all. I wouldn't believe that for a second. Tons of people have eaten with gun blued knives. But it is something that we simply don't see very often anymore. And it's something that I was really excited to do. And I'm telling you right now, it turned out so good. And the problem with bluing, it is mostly aesthetic. It's supposed to give us some protection to the blade. The problem is it doesn't have that much protection, and it can wear off pretty easily. But if you saw, like, Peterbilt Knife Guy's been using a blue jackalope for a while now, it's holding up really well. It's holding up really well. Now, I don't have one of the blued knives for myself. I keep one standard option knife of every standard option that I offered is my goal. And that's it. I don't keep any special serial numbers. I don't keep any special customs. I've had a lot of customs where I am just blown away by the knife. And I don't keep them because I need to make money. And what good would I do myself to have a whole wall of my own custom knives? Like, I can't afford that. Well, this isn't, I can't afford that. What the crap? So, but everybody that's used it so far, it seems like the gun bluing by Turnbull is holding up just amazingly, which is way cool. So just so you guys know, when it comes to shipping, obviously I use envelopes now, and I, for every single one, get out my stamp pad, and I get my stamp, and I stamp every single one of them. Now, I want to give a shout out to White River Knife and Tool. They ship out knives in wood boxes, as I used to, and it's beautiful, and it's amazing. And for a really long time, I don't know if they still do it or not, so I'm not saying for sure, but for a really long time, they were making their boxes, and people didn't realize that. It's freaking cool. So their boxes are awesome. Reef knives. I love Reef knives boxes. The colors, the design. I don't know if Stu over Reef, I just did a terrible stamp, by the way. But when you get your knife, your stamps will be in varying degrees of quality, because this is what I'm doing. Anyways, I don't know if Stu designed the boxes himself or what, but doggone, I open up his boxes and I'm like, that looks freaking good. But the reason I went to this, it has a bit of a vibe that I like better. The envelope that I stamp, you know, I like the vibe. It's easier for me to ship. And the thing is, what most people, this, by the way, this is a classic jackalope going out. best knife I've ever, best knives I've ever released, guys. Right here, 60 to 61 HRC, A2, and they just blow me away. But anyways, you know, doing it myself, it's got a bit of the vibe that I like. But one of my priorities that normal people don't have to think about is I wanted to be able to ship on the road. Like if I'm out on an adventure, I'm out going to Wyoming, if I'm going to, probably not Georgia Bushcraft, because what I'll do when I go to a show like that is I will take all the stock off the website because I'm bringing it to the show. And even if I weren't to bring it all to the show, I don't want to take the time to deal with that while I'm running the show, of course. But, you know, I want to be able to go out and to do things with my family, but still continue to ship knives like from the camper. And if I'm going to do that, like the big boxes and stuff and everything that goes into that was too much. So I wanted to simplify, make everything smaller, make everything easier. I don't have one yet, but I intend to get a Bluetooth label printer so that I can run my program from my phone and, you know, just print out labels, ship them, drop them in a post office box while I'm out on the road having my adventure, be working, be making videos, be making money, be with my family. That's what. So that is why I have gone to this, so that I could do that on the road. Another reason. So, anyways, but yeah. So if your package looks kind of crappy, it's not because I bought cheap packaging and some of them look crappier than others. It's because I'm doing it myself. And the other thing is, like, I don't want too much of my customers' cost to be wrapped up in the initial experience of opening the package. That's a big thing for me. And the companies that have a really nice open package experience, there's value in that. There's absolute value in that. I've felt it myself. I know other people do too. But I want, like, every single cent that someone spends on one of my products, I want that to go to the knife that they're getting. And more important to me than the initial moment of satisfaction opening the product, opening the package, more important than that to me is the continued ownership experience, the long-term ownership experience. I want people to patina their knives. I want their knives to have scratches on them, to have dents in the handles. And when they show it off, you know, if someone brings one of my knives up to me at Blade Show, I want them to be like, man, look at this knife. And I want to look at it and be like, I can tell this knife has seen some things. And you continue to build this experience and build this time with an individual knife, and it should just get better and better and better with time. So that's where I'm putting my money, is that experience. Now, another company that does just an amazing open box vibe experience is Half Breed Blades. Really, those are really cool guys, and their knives are really freaking nice. They are sweet. So, you know, and that's something that they invest in, and it's smart and it's good. And honestly, I just explained why I do it my way. But I'll tell you right now that their way is better. Did I just do this backwards? Like a freaking moron? I think I did. I did. Maybe I shouldn't do things while I'm live. Maybe I'm not intelligent enough to multitask doing multiple things at one time. Anyways. So you guys, you know, like when I first launched Exodus Knife and Tool as a brand collaborating with White River Knife and Tool, one of the things that just wasn't vibing, that sounds gay, with me was that, you know, the first knife I ever got from them, S35 VN, their beautiful, beautiful stone-washed finish and natural micarta. My natural micarta had developed its own patina. It was old, it was scratched, it was stained, it was beautiful, it looked organic. However, my blade looked brand new. And it didn't tell this story of look where I've been with my knife, right? And so we got into the Cerakote on the blades. The Cerakote on the blades is a practical thing. We're doing the Cerakote on the blade so that for first off, we can either give a more tactical low visibility finish to the knife or a more high visibility finish with our high vis. But also, like, I wanted the Cerakote to become damaged over time and to show your adventure. So this is my adventure craft, from way back when, my first high-vis adventure craft. It's got the sharpening notch, which I haven't done in a very long time. It's got the ferro rod notch, which I haven't done on a very long time. Marbizzy said, use my adventure craft on a lot of camping trips at a campground. Took it with my family. Ended up having to pry open a rusty sliding lock on a public restroom with it. And that's the thing. Like, that's not an ideal use case for the knife, but the knife needs to be versatile and robust enough to do something beyond what I would do with a pocket knife to do what needs to be done. And so you can see with this adventure craft, it's scraped gaskets. I can't tell you how many things it's batoned through, like way bigger than it should have. Knots, everything. Beat the crap out of this. And people are like, will make fun of using S35 VN for a bushcraft knife. The proof is in the pudding. You can sit here and nerd out and look at charts all doggone day, but you guys have seen what these knives have gone through, and a lot of you have experienced it. And so knowledge without experience leads to a lack of wisdom. So Cam, glad to hear it. Yeah, the red and the white. The red is the last color that your eye sees when the rods and the cones shift at night as light starts to dim. It's also the last color you see as you start going really deep underwater for scuba stuff. But anyways, red and white is automatically associated internationally with emergency. And so I've got a lot of EMS guys that carry one of these. I've got military guys that keep these in their IFAC. I've got a special forces buddy who's got like a zillion deployments on one of these and who's done who knows what with it. So the type of person that likes the red and white aesthetically is a smaller group of people, but the number of people who appreciate for the practicality like it too. Also, Knife Guy just said colors can make a knife look less threatening. This knife does not have any feature on it that makes it look aggressive or threatening. The color makes it stand out so people don't think that it's an assassin's weapon. But again, I have people using these in really real-world situations. And when I take this to a restaurant, after I get done eating, I will go to the bathroom and clean my knife. And I'll just carry it in my hand because I don't really want to put it back in its sheath with gunk on it. I'll just carry it like this, and nobody will ever notice that. Hey, Gabe, glad to have you, man. I should have probably let everybody know that I was going to go live, but I didn't. It was it just happened. I just needed to go live. And I haven't been live nearly enough lately. Not nearly. This is funny. Random. Panther Martin Deadly Dozen. If you know what that means, you're probably cool and you're probably not a city EDC guy. The original sticker says made in China, and then over the top of that, it says made in Italy and the Dominican Republic. No, it says made in China and the Dominican Republic, and the sticker on top of that says made in Italy. It's wild. All right, one of my coolest sheaths, my leather sheaths. Hey, what's up, bud? Some of my coolest my leather sheaths are made by Spirit of the Bear Designs. Now, if I do a large run of production sheaths, I might use Reliance leather. But when it comes to my custom stuff, Michael's my guy, and he's just one of the best in the business, and that's why I use him. My favorite sheath that he did in this leather series is this one. So, Mark, this one's going out to you. I wanted to keep it. I just talked all that smack about not using my own product. That sheath is so cool. So Blade Show, super excited about Blade Show. Again, this year, I'll be hosting a party at the pit after the awards. Feel free to come bug me. There'll be a lot of folks there this year, I think. There were quite a few folks at the after party last year, but this year I think we'll have even more. And especially if you're a knife maker or a scale maker or someone tied into the industry, if you're a sheath maker or whatever, we're going to have tons of custom makers there, tons of production guys. I'm hoping that Andreas, who owns TRC, will be there again this year. There will be cigars, and I'm sure it's the pit. There will be some people drinking, but there are, as far as our party goes, nobody's ever been wild. I wouldn't be overly concerned about it. We did have an incident last year, though, at my party, and I've been meaning to do a YouTube video about this ever since. Bobby Garza, Diamondback Country Knives, had, I believe the model was his Crotalis, a literal Roman short sword made out of adamantium Damascus amazingness. And I checked it out. I was looking at it. And this guy comes over and he seemed okay. And he said, "Hey man, can I see that?" I said, "Yeah." I think I kind of looked at Bobby, and I think Bobby was talking to somebody, and I said, "Yes." Embarrassing that I did that. Well, he was drunk out of his mind. This knife's worth more than my Jeep. And he starts whipping it around, and he's like trying to put it in his hand. He's got a rag out, and he's trying to put it into his hand to look at it, but he's like, he can't. Oh, my brain fails me in live videos, guys. My buddy, who's also a designer for White River Knife and Tool, and he's a custom knife maker in Texas. I can't remember. This is embarrassing. If he's watching, I'm going to die. He was like, "Hey, man," he gets cut with this sword. And Bobby comes in like a beast and grabs the knife and takes it from the guy. I am drowning in shame. Anyways, we won't have any more events like that. I have to tell people about that. I am going to make the video because of the amount of shame that I have. Like, I need to embarrass myself to be held more accountable And I will remember this for the next time because I am so embarrassed about that. But anyways, no more events. Nothing else like that ever. No. Anyways, let's see. Biker Sombra got Adventure Craft number 20. Uses his daily in the sticks of New Mexico. Perfect knife. Waiting for custom scales. Maybe copper brass. Let me know. Number 20. That is so dang cool, man. That is early. That is early. I don't think I have that early of an Adventure Craft. My first Adventure Craft is now my son's knife. I'm pretty sure it's serial number 50. My original knife from the very get-go. That's awesome. Now, copper or brass scales are unlikely to come from me. I'm so sore because, and you have to use so much pressure on the stamp. It's just not something that White River is most likely going to do. Maybe if I bug them about it enough, I don't know. But I tell you what, Lucas Carroll can do them. Lucas Carroll Custom Scales, Carroll's Custom Scales. Amazing guy. Fantastic work. And he does, I should say he has done copper scales. And so I would reach out to him. I will say if you're going to do something like custom copper scales, it's going to be expensive. It doesn't matter who, it doesn't matter if you get it from me, if you get it from him, if you get it from your buddy, it doesn't matter if White River themselves makes it. By the way, I think that these micro stickers are super underrated and they're my favorite thing ever. If you get from anybody, it's just going to be expensive. The scales are so small. The bolts are so small. Copper is expensive and it has to be machined and on and on and on. It's just, it's the nature of the beast. It's just going to be expensive. Carroll's Custom Scales was out for a little bit for some technical difficulties. He is back and I cannot recommend him enough. And I'll tell you right now, you can take a production knife, even like a production knife that I might not necessarily love. He does a lot of knives that, I don't love. So there's a lot of knives out there that I don't love. You put some good handle scales on there from him, and it will change the knife for you. Custom knife scales and a proper handle is such a big deal. I can't overstate how important it is to have good scales. So check him out. I'm telling you right now, if you've got a knife that you really, really like, and you are being drawn to purchasing another knife to get that instant hit of gratification, you will do better to buy a set of scales for the knife you already love. It will be more satisfying and you'll have a better experience dollar for dollar. And people will say, well, I'm going to use Essie. I like Essie. So this is not saying anything bad about them. Well, if you take an Essie and you buy aftermarket scales for it and you buy an aftermarket sheath for it, now you've spent as much money as you would have spent on a full custom knife. And that's not necessarily untrue, but here's the thing. You can buy the knife affordably from the get-go. You can use the factory scales. You can use the factory sheath. Now they even offer 3D scales that are fantastic. And then you can upgrade it over time as you feel like upgrading. And there's just something about that. Like my Jeep, I got my Jeep for $4,500. I drove all the way to Georgia to pick it up, and I towed it home. And it had a bunch of issues that I didn't know about because the seller was dishonest. Imagine that. Dishonest salesman. Shocking. But there's no rust on the frame, no rust on the body. Body's straight and everything. It has the CJ clip that I wanted. It's got the stuff that I wanted. And I've already spent thousands on it. Fixing it, breaking it, fixing it again, improving it. And I finally have it to where it's getting to be where I want it. Is it worth thousands more? Nah. Might be worth a good bit more because it wasn't running right when I bought it. But is it worth thousands more? Probably not. And for all of the money that I spent, could I have bought a potentially nicer rig? Yes, I could have. But I didn't have that money at the time. And I did what I could, and I've been working on it and putting in the sweat equity. And now it's worth that to me. And I could pay for it as I could afford it. I still have to put a locker in the front. I've got the locker. I just got the transmission back in the Jeep recently. I've been working on it so much. The past month I've had the transmission out twice. Long story short. Anyways. So it's not always about, oh, well, if you buy a knife and you do all of this stuff to it, you could have gotten a custom cheaper. Again, that might be true, but that's just not a realistic option for everyone. Now, an amazing knife is getting cheaper and cheaper when you account for inflation and everything else right now. And companies are offering more options and offering more for less. And this industry is not like it has ever been before. So this is the White River Knife and Tool Ursus Cub. So we our behind the edge thickness on this guy I think is below 20 thou. Okay. What, buddy?
Papa needs to talk too.
Who?
Papa, about his lawnmower. I think he wants you to come and fix it.
Papa?
Yeah.
You mean our neighbor?
No, my dad. Pops.
Here at the house?
No.
On the phone?
Yeah. He wants to talk to.
Tell Mama to come talk to me. Go upstairs, boys, both of you. Go upstairs.
Benjamin.
Hey, Papa.
I can. Don't come all the way down.
Okay. Are you on the phone?
I'm live.
Oh. Okay. Well, I guess when you're done.
Okay, that's no problem.
Okay.
Factory knife, below 20 thou behind the edge, very slicey, Magna cut, custom handle scales, custom kydex. This package you purchase from White River Knife and Tool. This is not available currently. The GL Hansen's material is special run, Mexican blanket, whatever. This knife is better than any custom knife you could have bought 20 or 15 or 10 or maybe even 5 years ago. This Magna cut, the way that it's heat treat, everything else. And you can just buy it off the shelf now. So, things are changing. Things are amazing right now. People are like, oh, life is so expensive. Just you wait. Things are about to get a whole lot worse. But, and the custom market is so oversaturated that you can get a custom knife way too cheap as well. So let me see. I think I need to look at my comments a little more. Pulled an SE3 out the other day. Holy crap, that thing gets sharper than any other knife I own. It's insane. I like simple steels. I don't care what anybody says. People get lost in the numbers, and I love Larry Thomas's work. Don't get me wrong, but they read his work without the experience to go with the knowledge. And let's see, David wanted a special serial number. And so people lose sight of what it is that the knife is actually for. Frickin', does it cut? No. Go upstairs.
What's your plate number?
Huh?
What's your plate number?
What's my what number?
Plate number.
I don't know what you mean.
Number. What's your new number?
My new phone number? I'll tell Dad later. Dad, Mom knows. Buddy, let Mama handle it.
No, Mom doesn't know.
Yes, she does know. Go upstairs. Anyways, does it cut? Does it keep cutting? And, Whatever. All that other crap doesn't really matter. Is it easy for you to sharpen? One of my favorite knives back here. Old Stage Forge. Simple knife. 8670. I need to show it off more often. I can strop that thing and it gets... I'll be stropping it and I'll check the edge before I think I'm done. Just randomly I'm stropping. I'm like, oh, I feel it. And I'm like, it's already that sharp. I'm blown away. It's just good. So, you know, it is what it is. The SE3 is absolutely a classic. So Nerve said if he was going to do a metal handle, it would be magnesium. I love that idea. Magnesium could technically probably be scraped to help you make a fire. I think that's a nightmare, and I don't like doing it, and I wouldn't do it to my scales. Magnesium handle scales would be sick. Actually, magnesium might be able to be poured. So if I could find a company that could pour me, make a mold and pour me magnesium scales, that would be amazing. Condor Swamp Romper. I want to start testing Condor knives more often. I want to start reviewing some cheaper knives. I'm going to try and get back at that. I've been testing too much bougie stuff for too long. And guys, I know not everybody can afford a bougie knife. So I want to try to, you know, hook people up and test cheaper knives, and Condor is high on my list for that. Let's see. Okay. Let's see here. 52100 is probably one of my favorite steals, and getting a Trailmaster in 52100 is an amazing deal for 120 bucks. I just cannot fathom why Cold Steel has not updated the handle in 20 years. It can come loose. It can beat up your hands if you don't have gloves on or whatever. The rubber, in my opinion, is too much. It's too grippy. I don't want a friction hold on my knife. I want a structural hold. So I want the knife to stay in my hand because the shape conforms to my hand. I don't want it to stay in my hand because it's made of sandpaper. Because high friction eventually means hot spots, and it means that at a certain point, if you're using it hard enough and long enough, it's going to become uncomfortable. With that being said, especially if it's the traditional Trailmaster thickness at like 3/8 of an inch thick and 52100, as long as the heat treat is good, which I think Cold Steel has had some issues in the past, but I don't know. If the heat treat's good, 52100, 120 bucks. That's an amazing deal. It's really good to see because there were times where, something like their Trailmaster was so expensive. And it's like, guys, these aren't made in America anymore. You've exported to Taiwan. You're charging custom knife prices for these knives, and they are not custom knives. And you haven't updated them in 20 plus years. What the crap are you charging for? But again, that has changed, and $120 is a great deal. All right, let me show you this, guys. These sheaths are made by Jake Levesque. I probably murdered your last name, and I do apologize. The Canadian craftsman, a relatively new Kydex maker. I think he did a great job. They're very slim, which is what I like. So there's a little bit of drag in the draw and return, but not much. It's not bad, and I think it's because of how slim I asked him to make this. It's as slim as it could be, and that is one of my priorities. Does it hold the knife securely? Absolutely. You can mount this thing anywhere. Is it as small as possible for the size of the knife? Yes. He freaking did a fantastic job. Now, these are going to come within the waistband type straps on them from Wizard Forge. So this is what the strap will look like, but it's from Wizard Forge and it's brown, and there's going to be 2 on each one mutant sheath. So I'm really proud of these. I know they're really expensive. I guess you could probably tell that I'm really proud of them because of the price that they're listed at, but I mean, I paid for that. Whatever. It is what it is. But the finished product, we got a 5-inch blade that weighs nothing in a package that is tiny. We've got a swedge. We've got great handle security. We've got extra long handle if you are into bladed combatives that use pommel as a hook for a draw and stuff like that. Otherwise, it just gives you more room. Or if you have giant hands, like my buddy Michael Spaniers at Spirit of the Bear can help with that too. He did such a good job. I have one of his sheaths. I love it. Freaking knocked it out of the park. That's what my mutant looks like. That's what I would like to see all of my knives look like. Everybody who owns one of my knives is like, dude, check this out. You know, it's not all pretty. It's all scratched. It's going to be hard to see that in the camera, but it is. It's not all pretty. It's not all nice looking stains and marks and whatever. I have rust on it by the scales there. And I'll take my trusty rust eraser and I'll get that off. Guess what? I don't care. I'll get it off. I don't care a bit that it's there. It'll leave more staining. It won't affect anything. And the knife will continue to see adventure. Okay. This is Dave's knife. And I need to install the straps. Let's see. I'm going to answer a couple more questions here, guys. Then I'm going to call it a day because I've got to go find my straps and get them installed before I ship. And I'm not going to do that while we're live. So look through here. Do you guys like recurves at all? I love kukris. I don't generally like recurves. So if you were to take a knife, any knife that I like, and make it a recurve, I would probably like it less. It can be nice when you're cutting certain things and doing certain things, but for me, it just isn't worth it when I'm sharpening it, and it's harder to sheathe properly and some other stuff, and I just don't love it. Am I hiring? No. However, I want to start a heavy equipment business so that I'm less reliant on the knife business, ultimately so I can put more money into the knife business and grow it larger, and I may hire for that at that point if you want to run an excavator. 10 push-ups in a row. All right. So Mar Busy said, I threw that new Trailmaster at a tree trying to stick it probably 50 times. I suck at throwing it, bounced into rocks a few times. Tough knife. That would be my experience too. I suck at throwing knives. I do want to get better at it. It is something that I am going to practice. I will say my dad's Trailmaster that he took on multiple deployments that I grew up with myself, the handle and the guard got loose doing exactly that. So we had this guy on Blade Forums, Granite State of Mind, who ended up being a douchebag later to me for some reason. We had him make a wraparound micarta handle scale for it that was tight and everything. And it was such a vast improvement to the knife. I wish that Cold Steel would modernize those classic knives, not replace them necessarily. Some people are going to like that retro handle stuff, but let's have a modernized version of it. Or Cold Steel don't, and let me take your sales by doing things that make sense. So Jupiter, I'm guessing, is probably a troll for Steve. Biker asked if I'm going to do Mexican blanket scales for the adventure craft. And by the way, he says he's in New Mexico. I really want to go adventure in New Mexico. In fact, there's a legendary guy who lived outside and did nothing but hunt and was basically feral. And he took a bunch of U.S. presidents, I think a bunch of, at least one, on these hunting trips, like slept in trees in the rain with no shelter. Literally, this feral human being. He hid one of his most famous rifles somewhere in the mountains in New Mexico. I would love to go out there and just hike those mountains and just look. Maybe get Junkyard Fox James to go with me or something like that. That's the kind of adventure I want to do. What's up? Let's see. Condor Wastelander. I'd like to test that one. Yeah, I'm talking to Joe Flowers. I haven't tested a Condor knife in a really long time. I think early on in the channel, I got a Woodlaw, I think it was called. I won it for free. And I wasn't super impressed with it. It had a 0 grind and it just wasn't very strong. This is probably 8 years ago. I just passed my 10-year channel anniversary, by the way. But then I've tested other knives from them. Their warranty was good on that, by the way. I've tested other knives from them, machetes and stuff like that. I've liked it. And you know what? They hit the price point. And so I don't think I would love every knife that they make, but I've been looking at their designs. They've been modernizing. They're doing stuff with Julio Diaz knives with modernized handle shapes and stuff like that. And I think there's just a lot there. So I want to start reviewing those more. Marbizzi said the Trailmaster hand really beat up his hands, gave him blisters and rubbed the thumbs raw and stuff. Yeah, and hockey tape dimensions help some people. I hate hockey tape. Just doggone it, just do good handles. I don't understand how they've been making this knife for so long without taking that tried and true recipe for the Trailmaster and just updating the handles. Wooden handles, old school, simple steels. I'm right there with you. Now the knives that I'm offering currently, I have done custom wood scales, but as a standard option, the Liberty wood or Dymolux that I do is not just standard wood. This is Baltic birch plywood. So I'm going for wood, but it's completely stable. It's not going to shrink. It's not going to swell. It's not going to crack. Because I want people to use the piss out of their knives. And so this is something that I want to do a lot more of. This is what I want my standard for the brand to be, actually. But love wood steels, simple steels, all about it. I think you'll see some 15N20 from me soon, hopefully in large quantities. I would be interested in the Pops Pro Cut to some degree if it wasn't from Pops. I think I'll be doing a video probably on that here pretty soon. Yeah. Freaking. But Cold Steel SRK, not as good as he hoped from What's the Point EDC. The handle keeps breaking separated from the overmolded handles. I'm really surprised to hear that. I've got a couple Demcos to review that I think are somewhat similar. I've just got to get to it. Stainless or 1090 and I'm good. So I really like 1090, guys. I've used 1095 so much on this channel. It freaking works. Give me an SE, I'll figure it out, right? But I wish we could, there as a general rule, like with simple steels, more carbon equals more edge holding. But the rate of increase on edge holding really slows down drastically in the 1080 series of knives. Whereas the embrittlement from all of that extra carbon and the large carbides that become present makes 1095 considerably weaker than the 1080 series of steels. 1080, 1080 plus, 1084, 1080 plus is just 80 CRV2, L6. 15 and 20 is not an 80 series, but still 8670. These other steels, they have less carbon. Edge holding is still comparable, which is not very good, by the way, but that's fine. But toughness is way higher, way higher. And toughness can be way higher at higher hardnesses, which can give you higher strength. Strength is the steel's resistance to deformation. Toughness is the steel's resistance to cracking. So in a perfect world, we're going to balance hardness for attributes of strength and toughness so that you get minimal deformation and minimal cracking, or catastrophic failure is what comes from a lack of strength. So all of these people that are like, I want my knife at 67 HRC so I can open up them boxes real good. It'll work for the bushcraft, don't you? What they're doing, it does work. It resists deformation. That can mean a lot. But if you start with the steel you're talking about, if you start to lack strength, which certain steels can retain more toughness and strength at higher hardnesses, run it up. The hardness scale is not linear. It's exponential. So as you go up 1 HRC every single time, it's not going up an equal amount. It's going up at a curve. Run it up until you start having problems with strength. Okay? That's not the right way. Until you start having problems with, well, yeah, strength. Whatever. I've got it backwards. Toughness. All right, so do I think that a lot of these steels should be run at 61 to 62 for a hard use knife? Yes, I do, especially in steels that can handle that. Like when you're comparing 8670 to 15 and 20, edge holding is going to be almost identical, but the toughness is going to be the same for 8670 and 15 and 20, with 8670 at 60 HRC, and if with 15 and 20 at more like 61, maybe a little bit higher. And what that means is you're getting exponentially higher hardness. You're going to have more strength, more resistance to deformation, while still having the toughness to resist the catastrophic failure, the resist to chipping. I said that backwards earlier. So that's going to make the steel hold an edge longer as compared to 8670, but it's also going to make it less likely to become damaged from bending or deforming while having the same or higher strength because it's higher hardness. So anyways, I wish the industry standard could change a little bit, change from 1095 over to a 1080 series or low alloy alternative. What's up, common sense? What's up, Walter? Foreign Legion release. I want to put cash in White River Knife and Tools hands at Blade Show, work my butt off to be able to do this, to get the setup and the tooling done. I've got testing to do with Ross Gammons at Dry Creek Forge. Give him a follow. We are going to be testing 8670, 15 and 20, and Zap Z-Tough side by side on knives that are as close to identical as you can make by hand. And I think we're going to go with 15 and 20 for a proper balance of toughness and edge holding and what I need for a real life combat knife. And so what I want to do is I want to have this real world combat knife with rounded edges, rounded spine, short blade height. The most used combat knife pattern in the world is this Legionnaire, while the K-bar is getting all the glory. But I want a thin or thinnish edge. So we're going to have a relatively shallow grind. It's part of the design. It's part of what we're going to have. But I want it to be at like 20 thou behind the edge thickness. So if I'm going to do that, we have to have astronomical toughness. The grind's going to be kind of wild. Being so shallow at 1/4 of an inch thick down to a 20 thou behind the edge, edge, it's going to be wild to see how that goes. 4 kids under 10 means little budget for fun. I understand that. Will you ever make patriotic themed knives? I have. I do some slightly patriotic themed stuff around the 4th of July. I have done some Bill of Rights type stuff. So yes, I will. Oh, your Shadow from Junkyard Fox's channel. Dude, I didn't realize that. And I feel stupid. I probably should have realized that. Dude, I'm getting tingly. How gay does that sound? At the thought of being shown around cool places in New Mexico. New Mexico, I'm not into the desert thing. As a whole, not my vibe. Wouldn't want to live anywhere very deserty. However, when it comes to adventuring in the desert in a place as just as wild as New Mexico is, especially if we can do it in the winter, I'm so into that. Also, I do want to look for the remains of giants. So that's a real thing also. Nerve said his Manix 2 and Maxima is 67 to 69 HRC. Great for doing small stuff, cutting packages. I would never want to use it for anything like fire prep or anything harder than cardboard boxes. The right tool for the right task, you know, there's undoubtedly something to be said for that. You know, if you have Rex 129 at 67 HRC and 10 or 5 thou behind the edge, that's freaking awesome. I will never tell you that's not cool. Don't drop it onto the concrete. You know what I mean? So for everything, there's a time and there's a place and there's a purpose. Knife Guy says 15N20 is slept on big time. Only hear about in Damascus. I thought the exact same thing. It is so underrated. Sword out of New Zealand is like one of the only places to use it. Dude, 15N20. I'm going to start doing this with 15N20. I almost guarantee you it's going to catch on. And Nice Guy said, giants, you mean Nephilim. Like we're going to get, like, you're picking up what I'm putting down here. You know exactly what's going on. Yes. There's a specific museum in New Mexico, I believe, that famously had histories of giants, Nephilim, remnants of Nephilim, whatever the case may be, from a cave there. And there's a long history that goes back with the Indians with them. And the museum used to have their artifacts, and you can still go to the cave, and they've got a little thing. But I guess everything's been taken out, and I think the Smithsonian gutted the museum. So, man, I would like to poke around. I don't know if I have enough patience really to give due diligence. You know, I'm like a hobbyist. Like, I want a little bit of it, but I don't want to dedicate to it. But yeah. Byron said, giants gotta be here. We'll find them. I'm down. I will get my freaking Jeep, and I'll look to make it happen. Sky said, I'm bigger live. Camera angle lighting, I don't know. You know, I'm not good at picking camera angles. So now I feel awkward, actually. Red-headed giants. There you go. All right, guys, I'm going to let you go. Got to take a piss. Got to put the straps onto the knives before I ship them out. David, you are getting the number 19 that you requested. So that's the deal. Thank you guys for coming on. I need to do lives more often. Life's just been so hectic lately, guys. I'm having kids. I'm having issues. I'm having my vehicle continually break down. I'm not the kind of guy who can have a Hyundai Sonata broken down for 18 months because I can't afford to put brake rotors on it. That's not me. Like, stuff has to get fixed. So it's been hectic lately. It's going to be so hectic going forward because I'm full on in Blade Show prep. So that's what's up, guys. Thank you for watching. I'll try to do this more often, especially if you guys like it. You know, I've gone back and forth on lives and whether they've worked well for me or not. I plan on going live more often with Gabriel at The Last Huntsman. Subscribe to him. With John at Heavyset Knives. Go live with him. Go subscribe to him. I've got some podcasts lined up again with Joe Flowers. I want to do more podcasts. I want to do a podcast. I talked to Andy Roy, doing a podcast with him and with other people. So, you know, here's the thing. I know and I work with the best people. Just the coolest guys in this industry I am blessed to call friends. And I need to get them out here. And if you don't know these awesome people that I know, like, I need to fix that. I'm not doing my part. And so many people are like, these are your competitors, you know, don't blah, 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 blah. Look, if anybody's a competitor to me, like, directly, it would probably be a much higher competitor than me would be Essie or Reef. And you know what? I encouraged Stu and wanted to help Stu get started with the brand Reef Knives. And I will talk about my knives while wearing his shirt, and he does awesome doggone knives. I don't compete with anybody. So if there's anybody who's awesome, who I know in this industry, and you don't know them, I want to introduce you. Because that's what we're here for, right? Anyways, rock and rolla. Thank you guys. Have a blessed evening, and I'll talk to you later.